Just picking up the microphones and we're back.
Okay, I have something to share with the group, with the
What?
class. Okay, so Chris and I do this thing, and I don't know why we started doing this or how it came about. I think maybe I started it sarcastically one day, and now we both just do it all the time.
What? I'm scared.
We do this thing where, like, one of us will text the other person and say, I have to tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
then,
feel like we both actually kind of do that because once you brought it to my attention, I was like, I do say that frequently. And then
yeah.
I say it to other people too. And then I've caught on to it. I'm more
Okay.
conscious of it.
Yes. So we'll text each other, I have to tell you something. And like then the other person's like literal stomach drops out of their asshole because we're like, oh fuck, what is it? Like it has to be serious, right? And then you send another text, your second text, which is like the most unserious thing anyone could ever fucking imagine. For example, I will share.
Oh, God.
Chris texted me the other day.
She's pulling up receipts.
I'm
I don't even
literally-
remember what I said.
Me with the receipts. Chris texted me the other day and he said, I have to tell you something. And then he said, I have not been getting joy out of chocolate or sweets lately.
Well, you did say that was appropriate. You did
It was
say that was
warranted.
appropriate.
It was warranted. That was so serious and so for real and so wrong, honestly, just very criminal.
Yeah, I've reverted back to my normal self, in case anyone was wondering.
When I did call this out to your attention, you told me, you're like, I fucking hate it when you do that because I get so nervous.
Well, yours makes me
like,
nervous.
what?
Obviously, I never have anything serious to say.
Yours always makes me so nervous. Every time I'm like, literally, you know what mine is? I always think you're going to be like, I can't do the podcast anymore. I'm like,
I always think yours is going to be like, I actually don't know.
You don't have like a worst case scenario situation?
I don't even know. But we do that to each other at least once a day.
It's terrifying. And like it never stops being scary, even though we've never had anything serious to say to each other. Each time I'm like, oh my fucking God, what's he
going
about
on?
to say?
I don't even, what do yours say?
Literally probably the same thing. Like I'll be like, I have to tell you something. And then I'll be like, I had sex with a really big dick last night.
And then like if I don't respond for 20 minutes, you're like, I actually can't tell you anymore. And I'm like, okay. That's what happened the other day. You were like, we need to talk about something. And then you're like, I actually can't tell you anymore. And I was like, okay.
No, I actually will share with you what that was going to be. Literally what I said was, I have something really fucked up and delusional to say. And you said literally 2 hours later, what is it? And then I was like, I can't tell you anymore because I was having like a moment of psychosis and then the moment went away.
I know that happens sometimes, but sometimes it's better left unsaid.
And then after I was like, bitch,
no.
Can you pull it together?
You were in deep psychosis. Well, here we are today.
Yeah.
Living to tell the tale.
Exactly. All jokes aside, are you hot or you bothered this week, Chris?
We didn't do an intro, you idiot.
Oh my God, you're so right. My bad. Okay, hi guys. Welcome back to Hot and Bothered.
You know what, you guys? My Botox lately, like, people have been staring at me. They're like, what is going on with your face lately?
Like in a bad way or in a good way?
In a bad way. And I'm like, it's not moving. Like, I get Botox. I probably do like a solid pump up once a year, like 70 units everywhere she can fit a needle.
Yeah.
And I was in the office today and I was like laughing, and my colleague was sitting next to me and she was just staring at me. And I was like, I know what you're looking at. And she just started laughing, and I was like, I did get a lot of Botox, like, and I feel like my face is deformed,
completely frozen.
like, but I even this weekend I was at a birthday and we were taking photos and I was like, I literally can't smile. Like,
really?
I literally look like a deformed balloon old lady. My face looks like wide.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't noticed
like
that.
My smile's like it's
like
it's,
is it Why is that like the longest jingle ever possible?
Know, but it's so soothing sometimes.
Okay, is it because like did you get Botox in your crow's feet?
Obviously,
and that's why like
I have
so like your cheeks can't lift when you're smiling?
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. My cheeks aren't lifting.
Yeah. I mean, unless you got Botox around your like mouth, and I don't know what else it could be.
It's just like from here up.
I've always been very willy-nilly when it comes to Botox. I'm like, put it wherever you
That's
want
how I
because
am.
I'm
I'm
like,
just like,
it'll
I
wear
just want it in
off.
my crow's feet because my
Yeah.
wrinkles are so fucking deep. I don't care about the forehead, but
Yeah. Forehead is my like primary concern, but one time I actually, because I have like one chin dimple on this side,
mm-hmm.
and one time I was already getting my forehead done, and I was like, can we see if we can do something about this? And it was literally my plastic surgeon was the one doing the injections, and so I like trust him with my life, and he's like, hey, we just need to be careful because it can like fuck up your smile. And I was like, hey, whatever, literally don't care.
For 2 months smiling.
No, literally. And so he injected my chin, and even when I was talking, this side of my mouth like wouldn't raise or
Open.
like go down while this one would. And so like
Yeah.
my whole mouth was crooked for literally like 4 months because of this one fucking chin
Dot.
injection. Yeah.
Have you ever had a lip lift?
No. A lip flip.
A lip flip.
Mm-mm. Have you?
Yeah, a couple times.
Do you
And
like it?
I fucking hate it. I think like any of those lip flip or like I've done something with my nose because when I smile, I have a total Squidward nose where it goes down and it's disgusting. And so she was like, "Oh, like I can inject some Botox underneath so your nose doesn't go down when you smile." I think that like those tricks that are supposed to like do some kind of like illusion to your face with
Mm-hmm.
Botox or whatever, they don't work.
Yeah.
Like they literally a lip flip, you cannot drink out of a straw. You cannot
I've
brush your
heard about
teeth.
that. You can't even like really fully like close your mouth
You can't like
sometimes.
close your mouth. I could not drink out of a straw for 2.5 months. I was
That would kill
fucking
me.
pissed.
I love drinking out of a straw. That would absolutely end my life.
I was so annoyed. It's like water's fall, like your Starbucks is falling out of your mouth. Like it's a disaster. But yeah, I've tried all of those things and they're just complete gimmicks to me.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to try is I really want to get it's called like nostril flare Botox or something
Mm,
because I have large nostrils, and I'm not saying that because I'm like I'm so perfect I have to pick apart my face. I'm
mm-hmm.
saying that because I actually do, and my plastic surgeon has told me that. And I was actually going to get a surgery to get my nostrils a little bit smaller, but I was like, I've had 500 nose jobs. I'm like over it. I'm not doing any more fucking surgeries. And so I never did it. But I recently learned on the internet about nostril flare Botox, where basically it's just like it freezes your nostrils. So like when you smile or whatever, they don't look bigger.
I
Um,
should do that.
and I've been us literally looking for any excuse to inject ourselves with something. Anyway, so I would like to get that done someday, but along with that, I would also like to I want to get Botox in my trap muscles.
Oh yeah, Kim Kardashian.
Does she get that done?
I think so. Or she probably
Probably.
had them removed.
Um can you do that?
Probably.
Probably, you're so right. No, I really want to get that done because I have like unusually large trap muscles for a girl, and I already have really wide shoulders too. So I'm like anything I can do to like make that region look less manly, I would like to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
I feel like the
need,
jaw Botox, I feel like that works. Like where it makes your
I've
jaw
had that.
thinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I decided I didn't like it, but masseter Botox is what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
I decided it works for people for sure. I didn't really need it. I was just doing it as like an experiment and I wasn't paying for it, so it didn't matter. And I think we've talked about this before, but I got it done and I felt like it almost made my neck like it made my jaw and my neck like almost a little saggy.
Mm,
And I felt like it just
like
took
made
away
you
my jawline.
less I cannot talk
Less
today.
defined, yeah.
Less defined.
Yeah.
My friend gets that and I don't know why these particular group of girls that I hang out with, they all go to the same Botox lady, and I've gone to her once before, and I was like, I will never fucking go to this human being again. Like, it was the worst experience of my life, and didn't even do a good job. Charged me like up the wazoo, and I had to wait like 2 fucking hours. It was a complete joke. But she gets the masseter Botox,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the second time where the injector has not injected it deep enough. So it's like a mass of Botox sitting in her jaw.
Mm-hmm.
And like when she clenches or when she's chewing, you can see it like pop out. It literally makes my skin crawl. It looks like there's like two like Jordan almonds sticking out. Like it's like a growth. Like it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm
That
like,
is scary.
why the fuck are you guys going to this person to go
Yeah.
get botched fucking Botox? Like
Literally.
I do not understand.
No, that doesn't make any
I'm like, go to
fucking
my girl
sense.
and you will look like You can't move. Literally, you cannot move a muscle.
Like Kris Jenner.
Yeah, it's so bad. I'm like, I kind
Slay.
of love it, but I'm like
But
I was working
masseter,
out today, looking at myself in the mirror at the gym, and I was like, that actually does not look like me.
yeah.
I feel like
I need
Botox
to do
does
that.
that to me
I need to look
sometimes.
like that. I also, people have talked about this before, and I didn't realize it was a thing until I realized, but I've always been like, God, like the 2 weeks after I get Botox injected, why am I like glowing? I look better than I ever have. I look so gorgeous, genuinely just stunning.
Did you see my Snapchats last night?
No.
I sent it to my sister, and I was like, my skin looks so good. She was like, you have full blown like Korean glass skin right
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, bitch.
And
But I
that's
also
like,
did get new moisturizers and eye creams and things like that.
that's like a legit, I saw someone explaining it like scientifically on TikTok once, and that's like a legit thing that happens after you get Botox injected where you just like look literally so
Perfect.
perfect. I'm not going to try and explain the science behind it, but that is like a real thing.
I need that 24/7.
I know, me too.
When I do my skincare tonight, I'll send you a bunch of photos.
No, your skin actually looks really good right now too.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, enough of the Botox conversation, enough of everything else. Hi guys, welcome back to Hot and Bothered. I'm Cedar Champ.
And I'm Chris Bruno.
And on this podcast, we talk about everything that we find hot as fuck.
And everything that bothers the absolute living shit out of us.
Facts. Don't take any of our advice. We have no credentials, minimal life experience. We're absolutely fucked. And if you think anything we say on this podcast is serious or real, then you are equally absolutely fucked. So that's where we're at.
And we're manic little sluts.
We are manic little sluts.
Can't forget that new little part.
I love that.
Okay, where are we at today? What's going on? What's happening? Are we hot? Are we bothered? Are we horny? Are we sad? Are we depressed? Are we manic?
All of the above.
Perfect.
And that's just the way it should be. I like a mix of everything.
I know,
you know?
right?
I'm hot this week.
Oh,
I'm hot this week. Okay. I have something to say.
Oh goodness.
So I understand on this podcast we like come here, we talk our shit, we are toxic and we're horrible and we're just disgusting people, and that's fine and well and fun.
And this is why we're still miserable, yeah?
Exactly. But in all seriousness, on a very raw and real note, putting all of the jokes aside, all of the like toxicity aside, I am a relatively, like in general, I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, I'm a relatively evolved human being, and I've done a lot of work on myself. I've enjoyed years of therapy and have just done a lot of interpersonal growth over the past probably like 5 years of my life. And we've talked about attachment styles. And previously, I've been like a very anxiously attached person. And it's taken a lot of work to break away from that and be more secure in myself and be more secure in relationships. And I'm getting there. And I've reached a point of being able to recognize that I have made significant progress. And that's huge for me. But I've also noticed, like, I don't know if I'm going too far the other direction because I feel like I'm kind of like
an extremist.
Yes. And I feel like I've been kind of dating like a boy lately where I'm just like, I don't care. And like, one red flag, I don't feel the need to like talk about it or like have conversation or like try and work on things. I'm like, I hardly know you. You hardly know me. If this isn't the vibe, I'm out. And anyway, so I've noticed over the past probably 2-ish years that I will have one conversation if I'm seeing somebody and they're not acting right or like they're not treating me well or there's a sudden change in behavior from what I'm used to with this individual. I will have one conversation with you. We can talk about it once. You can promise me one time that your behavior is going to change and that you're going to like do better, be a better partner or whatever the case is. And if the behavior doesn't change after that one conversation as is promised, then like I'm out. I'm so good with leaving you where you're at and going on where I need to be, if that makes sense. Like, and the first time I noticed this, which it did take me a little while, but in my last relationship, he kind of started acting like a shitbag, and I had a conversation with him and he promised to do better, promised to communicate better, blah, 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 blah. And then he didn't. And I gave him like a couple weeks to a month. and like waiting to see if he was going to keep his word, if his behavior was going to change, so on and so forth. And it didn't. And even though I was like thoroughly convinced this person was my soulmate and we were meant to be together, I was like, I have no choice but to leave because I'm not going to be with somebody who makes me feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I broke up with him. And then even as I've been like casually dating over like the past couple of months, I've encountered a couple of different scenarios with people where I'm like, I notice behaviors that I don't know if I agree with or if in the long run will work well for me. And I don't even bother having a conversation about it because I don't think that there's any harm in accepting somebody for where they're at and like just understanding that like that is who they are and like that is what this is going to be versus trying to change them to like suit you better. Like I think that that's when you're like setting yourself up for failure essentially. And anyway, point being, I'm just like secure enough in myself finally that I'm just like, if you aren't offering me what I need, regardless of how obsessed I am with you or like how convinced I am that you are meant to be in my life in some way or like literally whatever like delusion I'm living under,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if I'm not getting what I need out of this, I'm fully able and capable of like just fucking walking away.
I feel like it's a little bit different though when you're like when you're dating, like when you're with someone that you're in love with and you're dating them, and then when you're just like dating someone to kind of feel the vibe, it's like you obviously give them someone that you're newly dating and not as invested in. I feel like you
Yeah.
give them a little bit more grace because you're like, okay, we obviously don't really know each other that well, and then we're like trying to figure out if this is like a habit of theirs
Yeah.
or if it's, you know, just a one-time thing or if it's how they like we're still getting to know one another.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really have to talk about it because it's like that's who they are.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly, yeah. And but like I've been that way in the past where it's like even as I've been getting to know somebody where I'm like I find it necessary to like tell them like, "Oh, I don't really like this." Or worse, I make excuses for them
Mm-hmm.
until later on in the relationship where I'm like, "Okay, I don't really like this." And then it's like too late and it's like that
Yeah, I feel like that's my problem.
I should have taken that hint at the beginning that
Yeah.
this is who they are and that that's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy try to convince me that like this was not the proper way of thinking. But I do strongly believe in like taking people at face value because if you when you're getting to know somebody in the first stages of a relationship or a fling or whatever the case may be, you're typically on your best behavior. And so if they're not giving you what you need in those stages or if they're doing things that bother you in those beginning stages, then like why would you think that they're anything other than what they're showing you? And I had a guy like tell me, well, how am I supposed to know you don't like those things if you don't tell me those things, blah, 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 blah. And he gave me the whole spiel of like, I'm going to change, I'm going to change, I'm going to change. And then lo and behold, literally never did. And so it's like, there's no point in communicating about those things when, like you said, that's literally just
Yeah.
who that person is.
And I also feel like at the beginning, if there's not that like innate primal attraction to like you're gonna die without this person,
Yeah.
like it's not even worth it to bring it up because
Because like
you don't
this
care.
isn't that deep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like you literally do not give a shit about this person really. Like I mean, it depends on how like desperate you are and
Yeah.
like what your fucking goal in life is, but I feel
Mhm.
like for me, yeah, if I notice these patterns or behaviors that I'm like not down with, then I'm just like, okay, let's see if there's other things that aren't aligning and then we'll go ghost them.
But I do also kind of feel that like part of growing and maturing as a person is even if you do feel that like draw to somebody that's just like unexplainable and whatever, like not letting that cloud your judgment in terms of those kinds of things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was kind of saying like if you have that feeling
Yeah.
at the beginning of a relationship, then I would feel inclined to say something.
To talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would probably be blinded and like love bombing,
I actually
etc.
do have an example of that because I've been like seeing this guy. I've talked about him already too many times. And like when we first met, the first like probably 2 weeks of us getting to know each other was just on fire. Like Text communication was off the fucking charts. The chemistry in person was on fire. The communication in general was really strong and really good. Things were like going swimmingly. And I was like, okay, I'm literally in love with this person. And then all of a sudden, literally at the drop of a hat, all of that changed. And
Because of you or because of him?
to be determined. I don't know. I mean, I could tell the whole story, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I think probably because of him. Like, I didn't change anything. I think it was a him thing.
Yeah.
But his communication toward me like completely shifted. And because we had had such strong communication up to that point, and because there was so much attraction there, I did have a conversation with him, and I was like, look, like something has shifted and I just don't really fuck with that. Like, is there something going on? Like, is this something that we should talk about or like whatever? And he was basically like, no. Like, I don't think that like it's necessary for like us to like be communicating in the way that we were or whatever. And I was like, okay, Slay, like if that's how you feel, that's fine. And
That's awkward. It's like, how do we like
how do you go
regress
back? Exactly.
when it's like, okay, this is actually why I'm attracted to you, is because of this aspect of this relationship.
Exactly. And then so we've continued seeing each other, but I've taken a huge step back. And in the past, knowing me and myself and like my attachment issues in the past, what I would have done instead is try to get that back, and would have probably literally begged, like probably would have been like, well, can you do better? And then he'd probably lie and be like, yeah.
Or
And
be
then
like,
nothing
you're
would
fucking
change.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. And it would have just put me in this really toxic, anxious cycle and would have probably fucking like ruined my life. But instead, thankfully, I am seeing now what he has to offer. And the fact that like he went from so hot to so cold, he's obviously got some fucking shit going on. Not my problem to figure out. But like, I did feel really proud of my ability to just be like, okay, if that's where you're at, I'm going to put you in that box. We can hang out and like enjoy our time when we're together and have good sex and whatever. But when we're not together, my head is going to be over here. Like, I'm not going to waste my time fucking thinking about you or worrying about you or like wishing you would act
the best
better.
of both worlds.
It is. And the whole point of this conversation is that I'm just hot this week because I'm acknowledging my progress and my ability to not let my attachment to another person or my hopes, dreams, expectations, etc. for another person rule my fucking life.
And that's the biggest fucking slay of them all.
The biggest fucking slay.
I feel like I kind of do that. I had the same situation happen with a guy where like great chemistry, great communication, asked me to be his boyfriend, and I was like, we're heading there, but not really. And then everything was fine. And then, yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Like went cold, and I was like 2 days went by.
I don't remember what the episode title was.
Did we talk? We talked about that.
Yeah.
And like, he was like, I don't even remember his fucking excuse at this point, but like, we literally have not had a conversation since that conversation where he gave me like a laundry list of excuses.
He like made you agree to like be exclusive with him and then fully ghosted you. It's like when you're in middle school and you like agree to be somebody's and you like agree to be somebody's boyfriend in middle school and then you never speak again.
Yeah. But like for me, I'm kind of like, I don't know if this doesn't sound bad, but I feel like I have too much pride to like give somebody that satisfaction of like having them knowing that I'm like thinking about them or that I like care enough.
I don't think that sounds bad, honestly.
But I'm like, no, if this is what you're telling me, like I'm gonna take that for face value.
Of course.
And like, I'm like, he was like, let's, figure this out later. So I forget what he said. He was like, I'm still interested, whatever. I literally do not remember. And I was just like, okay, I will never in a million years ever text that person again.
Mm-hmm. This girl came up on my For You page on TikTok the other day, and she was in a situationship for too fucking long and was like obsessed with this guy. And she was talking about, people were like, well, how did you see your worth and decide to walk away or whatever? And she was like, honestly, I wish I could share with you like some big story of my revelation on how I decided that I'm too good for this and whatever. She was like, but at the end of the day, the only reason I decided to walk away was because I realized it was fucking embarrassing. Like I was actively embarrassing myself by like continuing to like pursue
I
him.
think it's embarrassing to pursue someone
And
that's not interested in
exactly. And you were saying like I don't know if it's toxic because of my pride or whatever, but I don't think so at all. I mean, like if somebody is obviously not being a healthy person and is not being like a conscious and aware human being.
No, but I'm
like,
also like, again, I'm going to take it at face value. If you are not interested in me, what, like, my logic isn't like, okay, I'm going to go and try and get this person. I'm like, X cancel. No.
no,
Like,
exactly. That's
next
what I'm saying
page.
because it would literally be embarrassing. When,
Exactly.
if somebody isn't being
Like,
conscious
you are
of you and
weird
like
if you
aware
think that
of
you have to, like,
then like it would be fucking embarrassing for you to continue pursuing them. So even if embarrassment is literally what's holding you back from like pursuing somebody that clearly doesn't give a fuck about you, then let it be that. Like
let
that
it,
there's
like, I've never thought about it as embarrassing, but now my, like, the wheels are turning in my head.
Mhm.
But, like, that is extremely embarrassing.
In case you guys haven't noticed, this podcast is strictly dedicated to developing Chris as an emotional, intelligent human being.
Yes, I learn a lot. I'm like, I was driving over here today and I was like, I feel like this is like my weekly therapy where I'm like discovering things
It like
sometimes.
kind of is.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna go see
Just
my therapist.
realizing.
Yeah. No, but that's extremely embarrassing. I would put that on like the top 3 embarrassing things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's
But like if she's doing that publicly, she also has some kind of like issue inside of her head.
doing what publicly?
Like on TikTok talking about this guy or whatever she was doing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you know, that's neither here nor there. I talk about like it's like it's not any different than me talking about spit in my mouth, man.
I guess that's no different than us talking on this podcast
Literally,
about anything.
it's not any different at all. So
Um,
that's on that topic. I'm hot this week because of my emotional growth and development and like not letting guys literally string me along anymore, and that is a big slight, especially because I came from like divorced parents, had like kind of a tumultuous childhood, yada yada yada. So like breaking that cycle is
a big deal for
a
you.
big win. So anyway, big slay. Are you hot or are you bothered this week?
I'm bothered this week. Actually, the wheels are continuing to turn in my head
Slay.
because I feel like this is all coming full circle for me right now. This is why I love therapy. Um, when someone fucking likes your Instagram story, Instagram needs to remove that feature because that is like the one thing. Because you were talking about your anxious attachment issues, and I was like, I don't really think that I have those. But then this guy that I was just talking about that was ghosting me is like liking all my Instagram stories.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of triggering. It's like bringing
Yeah.
things up. I'm like, why the fuck are you liking my Instagram stories? Is it like a, oh, like that's cool? Or is it like a, oh, like you look cute in that photo? Like, or is it just like a, I'm poking you and I want you to know that I'm here looking at your shit? And I'm
Right.
like, what the fuck is the point of this? It's kind of triggering. And like
Yeah.
that actually makes me anxious because I'm like,
What do
I
you
don't-
want from me?
like, I don't want to fucking, like, if I see your name on Instagram, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, my heart's broken. But I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is your goal? What is your point? Like,
yeah.
I have already a lot of unanswered questions that I, like, don't really give 2 shits about. But then I'm like, why are you still here? Like, trying to reappear.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I need answers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, comment something, don't like it. I'm like, what is Harding not going to do?
I actually really love that feature, but
Of course you do.
not in that context because I've had the same thing happen to me before too with a guy that was like not good for me, and like even when he's being an absolute fucking terrorist and just ruining my fucking life, and then I post something and then he's like like
Yeah.
I'm like, can I fucking help you? Literally, what do you want? So I get it from that aspect, but I do really like it in terms of like when you're
being a normal person.
yeah, well, or like even in context of dating, like when you're just starting to see somebody and it's really casual or like whatever, in that capacity, I like it because I'm obviously not going to swipe up and like react to your story with the big massive fucking hard
eyes that are like,
emoji.
and like they're like fly into
Exactly.
the sky. And like, what's going on? Like, what?
And it takes up the reaction,
Yeah.
like takes up the whole fucking
Yeah.
screen.
And you're like, I'm actually trying to watch my story again for the 97th time. Like, I don't need to look at these hard emojis. Yeah.
Exactly. That is embarrassing too. Like you will never catch me reacting in that way to like a guy's story or something.
I do that
But-
like as a joke to like my friends sometimes.
Yeah. And that's funny and cute. Or if it's somebody you don't really know and they post something that you like, you still don't really want to give that big annoying reaction.
Yeah.
So I love the little like button for that. But that's why I wish I could take my own advice when it comes to this. But it would be good, like if somebody is nudging you like that and it's upsetting you or annoying to you or triggering or whatever, that would be when an emotionally mature, responsible person would A, mute them from your story, or B, have them unfollow you and unfollow them in return.
We have opposite views on this. I will never, like, I don't care if people are looking at my shit. You can look at my shit all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I will mute people. We've gone over this. I will mute people, but I will like casually watch their stories every now and again. Like if it kind of pops up somewhere or something happens, or if I'm just being a creep, so they don't think that I blocked
Muted
them or
yeah,
muted them, whatever. That's my little trick. But I will never have someone not be able to view my story. Like I think that is, I'm like, I don't care. You can look at my story. Like I don't care.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I say, like, I wish I was strong enough for this, but I'm literally not. Because I want people to see that, like, I'm doing cool shit or I look hot or
Yeah.
like as much as I fucking hate you or as bad as you suck,
Yeah.
I want you to be able to see that. And if I was strong enough, I would not be so fucking self-absorbed, and I would be like, well, this person doesn't need to see what I'm up to, but I obviously crave validation, and I obviously want people to like know that my life is great. So I never block anybody from seeing my story unless it's
I feel
someone's
like you block
mom or something.
like people and like things though. I think you always block people
Overall, or like from my stories.
in general.
Mm-mm. I wish that I did. I'd probably live a more peaceful life if I
I
did.
feel like you're always blocking people.
I have a really
There's
hard
only
time
one
blocking
person
people.
that I have unfollowed recently that was like, I mean, they still follow me, but like I also don't unfollow people really unless they're like some weird as fuck person that I actually don't have anything in common with anymore.
So have
but
you?
I'm just like I don't know. It just that triggers me and makes me really fucking anxious.
But okay. Because I'm guilty of this, and I'm like, although I just went through like my whole spiel of like I'm healed and like I'm above all and holy and cleansed of my sins and whatever. I have been this person though too, where like I will like somebody's story to be a little toxic, to be a little bit of a piece of shit, to nudge somebody a little bit and push their buttons. Do you do that or no?
I don't think I do that.
You do. You do that because sometimes you do that to the Chihuahua.
Oh,
if you
but
guys
I'm
know
like
Throwback.
I'm like friends with the Chihuahua. I have his location.
But like, don't
We're
you
friends.
think that like terrorizes
He
him
doesn't
a little
live
bit?
in reality. There's no way that person lives on planet Earth.
Someone could say the same about me, but I still
Everyone
have
watching is saying the same about me right now. But like that person doesn't. Like we're so far past that though, me and him.
Yeah.
That it's.
But
like,
you did it. But like even after like when the
no, it
breakup
kind of
was,
fizzled out.
when the did you go to SLS happened, you still were liking.
Good. That was so fucking good.
If you guys don't know, listen to the episode. Did you go to SLS? But even after that happened, you were still like liking his stories and shit.
No, we kind of had like a little. We had a little moment,
a little break,
and then we were getting back into it, and he knew his boundaries. Not that we ever fucked, but like,
yeah,
we knew what the boundary was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like the mayor of WeHo, so it's like, no. Me and the Chihuahua are besties. I love him to death.
Mm-hmm.
He's my diva.
Mm-hmm.
He's my diva queen.
Slay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about my little tapikia. But that's been like on my mind, and it's like something that happens every single time. I don't post shit often, but every time I do post, it's like, who's triggering me today?
Right.
And that probably sounds like I have a lot of people that I've like. What screenshot do you have pulled up and cropped?
Because when you were just talking about how the Chihuahua like literally doesn't live on this planet, his head is elsewhere, and I was saying people could say the same about me. This was me texting Spit in My Mouth Man last night, and the fact that he does acknowledge that I do not live in reality. I literally said to him, I love you, but I have to leave you. And then I said goodbye forever. He said, okay, talk to you tomorrow.
That's very accurate.
Anywho,
it's kind of fun having people that you like
can be a psychotic twat
that you can joke around with like that.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah. I had a recent love affair with the man, and we were like, I love you. Like, we're like, we're in love. Like, I was like, baby, I love you. Like, what's going on? Like,
right.
We can't not say that.
Yes.
But it's like a fucking joke.
Even though you like both know that that's like not a real
thing. The furthest thing from reality, and that we literally don't even know each other's last names.
I am actually obsessed with that.
That's
but
like
I also
my favorite thing to do.
I do kind of feel like I think that love is really underused, and I think people really like don't use it when they're involved with somebody romantically, just because of what it obviously has signified historically in romantic relationships. But like
historically,
historically.
currently, for normal people.
But I mean, like, you can be seeing somebody and love them as a person, but not be ready to say, I love you in a romantic sense, you
Yeah.
know? And so it's like, I mean, I have 1.5 million people where I'm like, I love you. But am I
Duh.
in love with you? Like, do I want to get married to you and have your children? Absolutely not.
I do feel like it's kind of a slippery slope. Like, I could probably fall in love with someone if I told them, like,
Seriously, that you love them?
no, if I, like, told them
Enough times that you
while
love
I'm,
them
like, in bed with
casually.
them, like, it would probably.
You're like manifesting it
I'm like,
accidentally. I think we
hoping
should
for it.
normalize telling people that we don't love that we love them.
I'm actually not going to, because I'm not going to be doing that because we all
You
know.
already do that.
I know, but this guy was like, he knew the vibe.
Yeah.
Like, he knew the vibe.
I love somebody like that.
So it's a dance,
yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
You can't be doing it to, like, the other ones that already fall in love with you.
Yeah.
Have you ever, like, had sex with someone for the first time and they cried?
I can't say that that's happened, but I have had somebody that does not love me in any way, shape, or form tell me that they love me during sex. And that's horrible. That's like a horrible thing to do to somebody. Because, like, thankfully, I'm not fucking retarded. And so, like, if I'm fucking somebody that I know does not care if I live or die,
Isn't
and
that
they're
the
like,
conversation that we were just talking about?
well, but saying that during sex, I don't know. That's just like weird. But I don't know if I talked about this before, but I was
Me and my husband were saying it during sex.
okay. But did you say it for the first time before or after sex?
On Grindr.
Exactly. So, like, if you're saying it for the first time during sex, that's fucking toxic and horrible.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Because I had a guy that I was, Jesus fucking Christ, spit in my mouth, man. One time we were fucking, and thankfully, because I'm not fucking retarded, he said, I love you during sex. And I literally said, what the fuck did you say? And he was like, I said, I love fucking you. I was like, you did not say that. What the fuck did you just say? He was like, I love you. And I was like, say it again. And then he's like, I love you. And I literally made him say it to me the rest of the time we were having sex. So I was like, okay, if you're going to fucking say dumb shit like that when we're fucking
and you're like,
casually.
and I've never had a better orgasm, baby.
I'm like, tell me you love me. Tell me you love me. But I'm also like, don't be gross like that. You know, you can say I love you and have it be fun and cute and flirty. But if you're fucking somebody that you're like kind of in a toxic dynamic with, don't say that you love them during sex. Like,
I
that's
disagree.
weird.
If you're in a toxic relationship with someone and you're fucking, tell them that you love them.
You're so healthy.
Like, it's obviously not working.
Well, yeah. Also, like, what if you got to lose? But if they're more in love with you than you are with them, then don't do
AKA
that.
you being in love with spit in my mouth.
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Not being in love with-
exactly.
We are sitting on two separate ends of the couch,
exactly.
baby. Yeah.
No, the problem with me too, and something that I also need to work on, which will be the next part of my healing journey, is even though I knew that he was not somebody I needed to be with seriously,
Mhm.
and I still know that, like, once he wasn't,
Once you like detached yourself from him, I feel like.
yeah, I'm like good now. Like, I
Yeah.
literally fucking couldn't care less. But
I don't
like,
know why he had such a chokehold on you. No
I don't-
pun intended.
well, because I think that what the thing was that I at first was the one that was like, absolutely the fuck
Oh,
not.
yeah.
And then he was like, no, like, I want you. And then as soon as I like,
Embarrassing.
I got to know him and we like got to know each other as friends and like actually developed a connection.
Mhm.
And then he was the one that was like, no. And I was like, oh, fucking K.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I honestly don't know if that was even avoidable, regardless of how healed I was. But anyway, that'll be my next therapy session. So
Kind of like based off of
Slay.
last week's episode, I feel like I'm like where we talked about where we're like maybe we're like ready to date, maybe we're like ready to like figure it
we
out.
decided we're gonna go get boyfriends.
Yes, I've had such a different approach to like Hinge lately.
Yeah, you've been all over
I'm
it,
reading people's prompts,
which is unheard of.
which is like, I mean, by nature, my attention span doesn't really allow me to do that.
yeah.
But like, I've been reading people's things and then I've been like looking at their profiles and I'm like,
Actually seriously gauging.
Yeah. And I'm like, maybe this is, usually I would just be like, X.
Yeah.
And now I'm like,
Like Kim Petras.
yes. But lately I've been like, maybe let's see what's gonna happen.
I think there needs to be a happy medium in terms of swiping on dating apps, because I know somebody who I know a couple of people actually who take it a little too seriously, and they'll only have like 2 matches because they'll only
Okay.
swipe right if you look appealing to them, if all of your prompts are appealing, if all of your like what's the word I'm looking for? I wanted to say geographical statistics, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Oh, your like psychoanalytics or whatever the fuck it's called. What's it called?
I don't think either of those
No,
are the
it's
right
like
word.
your
Whatever. Anyway.
like what your stats say if they align.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway, but if all of your prompts are correct, if your age, your location, your like all of those,
Height, weight.
whether you smoke or don't smoke, or whether you drink or don't, whatever, and they will not swipe right unless every single one of those is in alignment with what they're
I
looking
mean, like
for.
kind of a
slay.
Like I get it, but also like,
But
come
also,
on, we
like-
need a little bit of room for error.
Yeah, and like I would literally fall in love with a fucking toad if you asked me to. Like I could fully pull that off. So I'm also like I'm open to whatever comes my way. Like I'm not gonna have you like pegged like down to like whether or not you were
So
born
if like a
6 months earlier or
700
later.
pound
Okay, fuck off.
47-year-old
Like,
who works at
literally-
Dunkin' Donuts likes your profile, you're
Obviously, that's not what I'm fucking referring to. But I
Okay.
do think that there needs to be a happy medium from like you're not swiping right on everybody, but you're also not swiping right on nobody. There needs to be like instead of having like 2 matches, maybe like 12 matches.
I'm like, if you're not ugly and if like one of your prompts is like satirical
Mhm.
and funny and original,
Yeah,
I'm like slay. And
exactly.
if you're like
as long
yeah.
as you're not like a fucking religious freak and like you don't
Yeah.
live in
Ventura or something weird. Yeah.
exactly. Anywho, that's on that. So we both talked about dating this week. That's
I
embarrassing
know.
for
And you're
us.
hot and I'm bothered. I mean, my topic was like
Slay.
kind of gay, but honestly, it's kind of been triggering me lately.
I get it. I totally get it.
But maybe
If-
it's just the people in particular that are triggering me.
So your homework this week is to trigger somebody on Instagram by liking their story,
Easy enough.
and also tell somebody you love them during sex that you don't love at all.
Yeah.
Slay.
And also, back to what you said, don't fucking harp on people that aren't it. You know, I don't know how to summarize what you said.
Yeah,
in a
exactly
nutshell.
that. Let people be who they are and don't beg them to be something else just to fit your romantic desires.
Yeah.
Love you. Everybody have a good week. Happy
Mwah.
Tuesday. Oh, follow our shit on Instagram, Spotify, wherever you want to do the things. Hot and Bothered
What a
the pod.
therapeutic little session.
I know that was so great. Are we turning a new leaf to a health and wellness podcast?
I
Because
don't know.
last week was like,
Last week it was like
no, actually,
borderline.
dude, I'm not fucking kidding. Last week when I was listening to the episode, I was like getting a little emo. I was like, am I about to tear up? We were like,
Aw.
it was so cute. We're like, look at how we've grown. I was so proud of us last
And
week.
I even like when I walked in here today, I was like, I feel like I'm like not manic. I feel like I'm level-headed today. I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna translate.
Us being peaceful, happy
yeah,
human
I'm
beings.
like the girls are used to the manicness.
Well, we'll be manic next week. Maybe we'll take our Adderalls at 6 p.m. and like chug a bottle of wine before.
Period.
Anyway, it's all about balance, you know?
Love you,
okay.
Dalianas.
Once again, Instagram, TikTok, wherever the fuck, YouTube, Hot and Bothered the pod. We love you. Everybody have a great week. We will see you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.